Hello there, my name is Skywalker, and welcome to the PanicCast. I'm here with the totally legitimate secret agents Cornish,
Hello.
Shwin,
Yo!
and Wizards.
Wizards Bond.
Wizards Bond, exactly.
I mean,
Shut up, Wizards. So, the Division has arrived, and we have been playing it. Well, some of us, some people we know have been playing it more than others, but we have all played. And yeah, there's quite a bit to take in. I guess one of the key questions starting off is how it compares to the beta. And Cornish, share some thoughts.
Yeah, so compared to the beta, it's definitely seemed like there's been plenty to do. Obviously, in the beta, we had such a limited amount of side missions and main missions we could do.
Yes.
And we all had a good joke about the fact that there was only 2 missions to do. And, I've been here before and I've seen this cutscene. But I think, the basic storytelling and the way they're telling the story with optional cutscenes and extra videos, some of them quite graphic.
Yes, I'm
like burning
that
people.
one.
Not to put too many spoilers in.
Yeah.
And it's just overall, it's just been really positive, and there seems like there's plenty to do. Progressions, you feel like you're progressing, but not too quickly. Overall, it's been pretty positive so far. One thing I would say is that I don't feel like it maybe takes as many sort of MMO things as maybe in Destiny.
Yes.
Like a conversation we had previously about you just don't see people roaming in the world.
Yeah.
I've maybe not experienced that as much because I've always been playing with some of you guys. I've been playing with Shwin, so I've not really experienced that. But maybe I feel like that maybe they've done that to give you a sense of isolation in a way.
Yeah.
So overall positive for the first 2-3 days.
Opening one. Yeah.
in the open world, do you actually see random people or not? 'Cause I
You do
haven't
not.
actually seen
If you're
anybody.
outside, obviously the Dark Zone is almost a separate entity to the main game. But no, when you're wandering the streets normally, like you would in free roam and Destiny or going between missions, you will never ever bump into another agent.
Unless you go into a safe house.
Unless you're going to say within social areas, you will.
You mean the party house?
The party house,
That's
yes.
the
where door blocking.
I mean the
reigns
British
supreme.
house where you queue.
Yes.
Yes.
And some meme person decides who gets to continue with the story. But yeah, I think that's because I think it was quite a big thing beforehand. Is you can play solo when you want to, and choosing when you want to play with people, and that idea is all well and good. But I think like within Destiny, the fact that when you did a mission you're on your own, you definitely wouldn't encounter anyone. But I think I do miss seeing other people wandering around. I do quite like that element. Like one of my favorite things about Destiny is that seamless matchmaking experience where you're fighting a mini boss in the free roam, and it maybe you're finding it quite hard, and then another bunch of people will show up and help, and that's pretty cool. And there's yet.
So in reality, then, outside of the Dark Zone, it's very difficult to actually class the game as an MMO.
Yes,
then, really.
it's more like
Yes.
just another Ubisoft open world shooter like Watch Dogs or Far Cry with co-op that you have to elect to
I
do.
must admit, actually, the look, the feel, and the play style is actually very similar to Watch Dogs.
It is very similar to Watch Dogs, just with more sponges.
Okay, so I've not
Yes.
played Watch Dogs, but I thought it's one of those games that I'll be honest, I was thinking, I really like the little Watch Dogs, looks fantastic, and then the reviews came out. And
Yeah.
it was
I
absolute
think,
rubbish
I
from
think,
all accounts.
in hindsight,
But the Division seems to have, in a way, almost initially lived up to the initial hype.
I think
enjoyed it.
with Watch Dogs, a part of their problem is that they really, really, really overhyped it, and a lot of the things said about it were definitely fair. In hindsight, and I was reading an article about this the other day, and quite a lot that a lot of people looking back did enjoy the game. It's by no means a bad game. It just wasn't quite as good as they hoped it would be, and also, yeah.
Well, that was the worry with the Division, because I mean, we all looked at the Division and we all thought, well, here's a game that can replace Destiny. It's something that we're all going to get on and play.
Yeah.
And we all immediately said, yep, this is,
Yeah.
we're all going to pick this
Okay.
up. We're all going to get to level 30 within a week, and it's going to be the best game ever.
Yeah.
So, it's got a lot of hype to live up to.
It's true. So I would agree that I am definitely enjoying it so far. Just to say something as Cornish said, story-wise, I think it's definitely succeeded in delivering a coherent story, which base game Destiny failed to do. I got to the end of base game Destiny, and I had no idea what was going on. Though I say I did discover the fact that after each major mission there is a cutscene, but only just after the 4th mission. You have to elect to watch it, which is kind of semi-tucked away, which is a bit weird. But I guess so.
But they make it very easy. Unlike Destiny, it's very easy. You just press a button anywhere, or you can do it in the base. And
See, it's okay.
It
It's
makes
okay.
it easy to do.
Yeah,
you watch
it's
a little
okay.
cutscene, and it adds to the story.
Yeah. It's okay to have additional story stuff. Just put it in the game. Make us
Definitely.
able to access it, please. So yeah, I think one of the other really core tenets of the game. So shooting. I know, again, Cornish, you're a very big fan of the customization in it.
Yes. So I really like the way that I've been playing it for 2 days now, and I feel like I can customize every single gun. It feels way more personal than any gun I've ever had in Destiny. I've liked a gun, so perfect example in Destiny. I had my LDR, lovely roll, absolutely loved it, but it was just a good gun that I used. Whereas now I'll have like a Scar H, and I'll have like a sight that I like, and I'll put a suppressor on it because I don't want to be heard, and I'll put an extended magazine. Now I've got a skin on it, and it feels like my gun.
Yeah.
And it feels really.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels more personal.
Yeah, I mean,
it feels like something
you
you own rather than just something you pick up and throw away when you don't want. Even though that's what you do when you get something higher level.
Are you feeling like the obviously you've got things like automatic rifles and burst shotguns. Have you got like a favorite type of gun? Because I know that my personally I really like the sort of the burst shot rifle I've got.
Pulse rifle.
Which
I've had a really
pulse
high magazine heavy light machine gun. So it had 100 with a extra ammo magazine. It had 120 rounds, and I could literally just suppress everybody everywhere. And I really like that ability. And actually, you can suppress people, which is I think really cool.
Yes, I think that's very necessary in a cover-based shooter. Very necessary in a cover-based shooter. You'll need to do that kind of thing.
And now I've got a light machine gun with only 30 rounds, and it feels, I don't know, a bit janky.
Yeah.
Because I can't suppress everyone for so long, and it's more
you can't just sit there
deal
and
a load of damage.
Yeah. I mean, the
pretty
customized weapon thing is definitely very good, and it's very similar to the customization systems in things like in the Battlefield games and stuff like that. And that kind of level does make it able to tune the weapons style slightly more. Just going to say what you said.
It also makes it more complicated.
It also makes it more complicated. Yes.
But I would have one comment on that is we were at the bottom, and in Destiny at the bottom there was loads of different guns you could use. Really cool, loads of really like cool rares that you could use, and you could this is a cool gun.
Yeah.
You get to the end and there's only about 3 guns people use. I really hope when you get to the real top end of the division, you still got options. So I can use a really high magazine, light machine gun, or I can use a burst fire shotgun, or I can use a pulse rifle, or whatever you want to call it, or a really accurate. So there's been 2 types of assault rifle I've used. There's one which is really fast firing but really accurate but really small magazine, or something a bit slow firing and has a bit worse actually. Like, I want to be able to use different things.
And so at this point we don't know how many
at the top end.
Yeah, at this point we don't know how many of those high-end / exotic weapons there are, and the variation in them. Obviously, it's interesting which point you want to compare it to Destiny, because obviously Destiny, if you compare it to Destiny at launch, and like pretty much everyone was only using raid gear type stuff, at the end. But then the system where
it could be the same with the Dark Zone stuff.
Yeah. But, so the system, I mean, I think Destiny's in a better state now, where you can pretty much use any legendary. So there is a bit more variation in it, and hopefully they have a way that as they add level caps and stuff like that, and that's something that Destiny took several attempts to tweak. Every expansion had a different system, and hopefully they kind of stick with the same one now. But yeah, it would be good that you'll be able to customize the gear you want, and you won't just have every single time something comes out, it will get replaced with a completely different set of just 3 guns that everyone uses.
But again, that's the same thing. Even if we're all using exactly the same guns at the very top end, we're all using the same assault rifle, and then it's 1 sniper, 1 shotgun, 1 light machine gun, because those are the 3-4 best weapons, whatever it is. I like to think that at least then you can customize it, and Wizards can put a stupidly pink skin, and I can have a lovely orange skin on my gun, and like you can choose your scope and like suppressors and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I don't feel
most importantly, is there a sniping shotgun?
You mean the Fellwinters? Is there a Fellwinters? I've not.
Exactly.
I've not really tried the shotguns yet, so I don't know.
I've only had one, and actually, at range, it is, shall we say, authentic in the fact that it's crap.
Authentically bad. Fantastic.
I don't know. Maybe it's because, but again, I'd say back to the point of we don't know what the end game stuff's going to be, and also we're at the moment we haven't really been into the dark zone, so we don't know what's good at killing people. We only know what's good at killing. Effectively, let's all be honest.
We only know,
they're still bullet sponges.
Yeah. I think
they're still bullet sponges.
I will say about the weapons. I feel like there is a bit less of a clear difference in feeling. I mean, when I did have a go of a burst fire rifle, and it felt cool, but it felt like, kind of like it did in a Battlefield game, where it just felt like a normal assault rifle that was just forcing me into 3-round bursts, whereas a pulse rifle definitely handles really differently from Destiny. So I don't feel the weapon types are quite so clearly defined as...
Oh, I must admit, I really like the burst shot rifle compared with the automatic rifle, because the kick on it for me is a lot less than certainly a lot less than the automatic rifle, and obviously to be honest, I think it's probably very similar to Destiny in that respect.
Yeah, okay.
I think the two guns at the moment that I really love using is my Burstfire MP5A4 and my Covert SRS sniper rifle.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Oh, the SRS is
because it just you can one shot the same level you are on a red enemy, and take off all the shields on a purple in one shot.
That's very good.
I'm really looking forward to getting a sniper rifle, because that is actually one thing I haven't tested.
I haven't really tried one of the proper snipers yet, but say I've had a Scar H, and I've had I can't remember what it's called now, but it was one of the kind of older DMRs. It looked like more like a World War II era rifle, and that had pretty high, what you would have guessed compared to impact to the other stuff.
Is there enough places to snipe though, Shwin?
Sorry?
Yes.
Is there enough places to snipe? Because obviously, to me, it doesn't have the same huge open world as Destiny, and you're not out in the country or in the middle of a planet.
It's that initial. So I've got a silencer on my sniper. So basically, if I see enemies up ahead, I kill one of them. So even though there's like about 6 of them, at least it's one of them's out of the game, like straight off, without them engaging me.
But I would say 2 of the missions we played yesterday, Shwin, without ruining too much of the people who haven't played it, but there was the one where we had to play with the burners and rescue some people, and there was some big engagements there. They weren't massive, they weren't Destiny size, like raid size, but they were still pretty big. They were sniper level range.
Yeah,
and it was that map where you had to, that napalm map where
that's the one I was talking about.
We tried to do it close range and got absolutely slaughtered. I
bet you would.
And then we kind of dropped back a little bit.
I think,
and actually got a bit of a scope on the landscape, and which we did it first time after that.
I think when you say snipe and you kind of compare it to something like Destiny or other games, and you think really far. I don't think it's quite that range. I think the point is that the assault rifles do have quite a kick on them. The SMG is a bit more controllable, but then again, I don't think they do nearly as much damage, which is why I think the Burstfire SMG is really controllable. But because they got the kick, they're really not very useful at any medium range. So I think the snipers are, again, they're more of a medium range dominating weapon, which is, even when not massively far, as Shwin said, even if you're only say like 30 feet away, 20 feet away, still being able to take one out with one shot where they're not aware can help make an engagement a lot easier.
So you only really use it then at the start of a match.
Yeah, on occasion. I found that if they were running, and this is more just occasionally stupid AI, when they're running at you in a line, it's great because you just leave it at head level and pull the trigger several times and they'll drop. But then again, that's in high. Literally, just as I was saying that, I was like, oh yeah, that's possibly just more down to terrible AI and people. Not the AI in whole has been terrible. I think when they're in an engagement, they're quite smart. But there's been several times that when you're defending somewhere and your little computer goes, enemies incoming, they're all filed in from the same door, which means you can just mow them all down.
Yeah. I think later on they get a bit better. I think at the moment, I've definitely seen them playing more tactically.
Yeah.
It's quite forgiving. And I know there's definitely things which Shwin and I've seen, which I don't know how far you guys have got, but like things that we've seen that I didn't expect to happen, and stuff that me and Super saying that I didn't expect to happen and still surprising them.
Okay, that's cool.
One thing I would say is Destiny's weapon style is you have a primary, you have a secondary, you have a heavy.
Yeah.
Division doesn't have that.
It's
You have
simple.
Yeah,
two,
primary,
you have
primary,
effectively
and
two primaries and a
a
sidearm.
Yeah,
Like, so you could just take in two snipers. You could take in two like machine
it's more
guns or
it's
whatever
more
you
akin
want
to
like. So
Halo.
it almost gives you
with
more
an additional
choice.
sidearm. So you've got two main weapons instead of a Destiny style.
the sidearm very much is oh crap, I've run out of ammo for everything and I need to shoot.
Yeah, I mean, I think I guess with the combat, I have been very much enjoying it. I think overall, I always naturally prefer first-person shooters. I think they're a lot more. I feel a lot more connected to the world with a first-person shooter. I'll be interested to see what some of the harder bosses are like co-op, because I haven't really done that yet. I don't know if you guys have fought any really hard bosses co-op, and if there's any strategies that have been needed. Yeah, or that's to come. Because I did. I don't know if you played the mission yet. I did the mission in the shopping centre. That's kind of on fire, so I won't go into any more details of that. And the boss at the end is just one really tanky guy that you run to piece of because it's a cover-based shooter. You run to piece of cover, shoot at him continually until he gets too close. Run to the next piece of cover, shoot at him continually until he gets too close. And it was
that is very different to how Shwin and I played it.
Really,
we were very much of Shwin was distracting him. I'd run him around the back and either.
Oh, see, you can
shoot
do
him
that
at
with multiple
close range
people
with
on
a
my
light machine
own
gun.
because I was on my own, and
Yeah.
on my own I really enjoyed the mission up till that point, and that last encounter was very boring just for one person because it was just move from cover to piece of cover to piece of cover, and that's what I was wondering is that if there's ways that they can mix it up a bit with multiple people.
I definitely think that against those bosses you can use tactics. You can people flanking and go different directions. You can have one guy at the top sniping. I definitely I don't know. Yeah,
there was a room. I won't say. I don't know what mission it was, but Pimmy was saying to me. I think it was you and me, Cornish. That actually they were doing a mission, and actually there was mechanics to actually take down the bosses.
Okay.
Like you had to do something in a certain way to actually manage to take down their shields or something, and then you can deal damage.
Okay.
You have to make sure you stepped on the plates in the right
That's
order.
the same place.
Which is like, which actually is kind of like they were saying in chat, like it can't be that. If they're doing that now, it can't be too hard to kind of put that kind of rage boss.
Yeah,
kind
they
of
can do it to a certain
concept
degree.
in.
Yeah, and I'll be interested. That's why I'm interested to see how.
The thing is, you
how that
can't
goes.
really put something that's like a huge tanky, a physically huge. Well, again, I don't know because I've only played sort of 3 or 4 hours. But to me, the story doesn't lend itself well to just throwing in huge Oryx-like enemies.
Yeah.
It's essentially just really difficult to kill human people.
Yeah, and
It's true.
which is kind of lends into the kind of the whole set piece of the story, and I think it's done a very good job at delivering a coherent story. I understand what's going on. I understand what's important.
it's a good setup.
It is a good setup. I feel that none of the characters are particularly interesting. In terms, I think they all
I
serve.
couldn't tell you any
One-eyed
characters'
woman's
names.
just annoying.
Yeah, her dialogue is entirely consistent of cliches. We definitely are the wolves.
Let's be honest. A lot of the games are all cliches, like, "Oh, we are the wolves," like you said, "We are the wolves," and you're like, "Oh,
Oh yeah,
go." It's almost like, "Yeah, go America,
Yeah,
America."
woo! Yeah.
Until like bursting into
Yeah.
song halfway through, and like a flag gets rolled out, and you're like, "Okay."
And
I
yeah,
guess it's New York City.
Well,
the
to
song
be fair, you
comes
could
with
tattoo a flag onto your face.
well, that's true. You can have the
Could
American
you?
flag
The
on
American
your neck.
flag.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can. That was one of the two of the tattoo.
Yes,
options
two of the
was that
tattoos
American flag
were
tattooed
the
to your
American
neck.
flag. So that's where they're coming at with this. No, I just think it was kind of interesting that when Destiny came out, it got criticised for having a story with not very interesting characters. Yeah, the story. I think the story is serviceable. But the one thing one thing that confused me.
Questioning the longevity.
Yeah, and I will say that it was kind of interesting is that your comment about not knowing about where the virus came from, the whole, delivered on dollar bills from, what I'd already played, the intro to the game, I found very interesting. Because it doesn't actually ever tell you that.
So I knew the virus had gone through the dollar bills through that cutscene, but I didn't know how he got on the dollar bills.
Yeah.
And you've got people just going, well, that crook there, he put them on the dollar bills. And I was like, well, who
Why
is
did
this
he do
guy?
it?
No one's
Yeah,
told me
well, it
about
was quite
him. Like,
interesting.
You're all
Is it
speaking
why
about
did he
Before
do
the
it?
game
knowledge.
came out, they did a whole, as games do, they did trailers and they did spotlights on the story. But then it's very strange in that the game is assuming you've seen this marketing material, which is very bizarre, I think.
Yeah, which is very sort of not abrasive.
Yeah.
But
thing is,
it feels strange for
yeah,
someone
it's a
who's
little bit
not
of while
read
since
it.
I read it as well. So it was telling me all this stuff, and I was like, I literally am a handful of hours into this game, and I'm already having that feeling of I vaguely remember when someone told me that.
But you're not
so,
quite sure
yeah.
where from.
Yeah, and I think with the story, and I'm fully prepared to say this is as much personal taste. I think I prefer, space opera as a story type setting.
Well, what I will say about the story is that I think when I first played Destiny, for example, I went through the whole game and I'd probably put in, I would guess, about 20-25 hours or something solo before obviously going through the 100, meeting up with you guys. Then we obviously played Destiny to death. But by that point, I'd completed the story. I knew basically how the story went and everything. But going through the Division, obviously, we've basically chatted to each other over every single cutscene, and to be honest, I haven't got a clue what the story is, because other than the fact, obviously, there's a virus, and there are a few people that are left over, and some people are suffering, and you're shooting some other guys.
Yeah,
that's as far as I know the story is, and that's mainly because we chatted over the cutscene.
Can I make one point?
Yeah.
Can we please kick out the person in our base who constantly cries? They're really annoying.
Oh my gosh! Literally right next to the crafting bench. It's just like, I get that you're having a hard day, but I'm trying to make shin pads. Like, I have, and if I'm going to go and get you some more food,
football.
You need to shut up. Oh yeah, it's very frustrating. That guy is very annoying. But yeah, I think a lot of things.
Sorry, just go.
Yeah, can you finish what you're saying?
As I say, just going back to, obviously you said you played some of the missions solo, Sky.
Yeah.
And obviously Shwin and Cornish said they had a completely different tactic for taking on that mission separately. I'm just wondering how easy it would be to actually, because I've played all the stories missions with you guys, and to be honest, they've been a piece of piss, because there's been so many of us, and
we steamrolled
the enemies are. Well, exactly.
It was harder with just Shwin and me.
Yeah,
it's definitely harder.
Yeah. Essentially, my question was to Skywalker is how difficult is it solo?
Not hard, to be honest. When there's I think, bizarrely enough, the optimum difficulty is with two people. And that is because I haven't confirmed this because I've not replayed the same mission in the beta. When I first played that, Rescue Jessica. I just made a new Jessica. That's stupid. Rescue Jessica. The first time I played it, there was X many ads, and then the first time I went through with other people on the same difficulty level, there were more. So I think there is two sets of difficult ad levels, one with solo and one with multiple people. So to get the most difficult experience,
that's a good thing though.
I played a story mission today on my own, and that was really hard.
Yeah.
Which was a level 12 in Times Square, and that was really hard.
What level were you at the time, Seven?
Do you find yourself using the cover?
I was level 13 at the time.
Yeah. So I think I was one level higher.
Interesting.
It wasn't like it was super easy. I mean, I didn't die. I don't think. I got close.
I think that's one of them.
I did a super combat roll and the health, and if you're running with, I think the perks I had the health regen and 4 med packs. So I had to really
so you were never going to
get
die,
stuck in order to die. The only bit I got close was when I had Tanky Mutt Flamethrower follow me around.
Yeah, I definitely think it's. I quite enjoy it when you play with other people.
Yeah,
purely
I think
because you can go. I'm taking the health. I'm taking the enhanced cover. I'm taking the whatever it is.
Yeah,
and that really that. But yeah,
I
think there's one massive difference that is always going to make comparing Destiny and the Division different. Division is primarily a cover-based shooter.
I was literally about to say the same thing.
If you walk out, you're going to get a lot of pain. Yeah. Whereas in the Destiny,
if you're in a big group,
you can just run across.
If you're in a big group, yeah. If you're in a big group, then you don't have to use the cover-based system. Only when I've been by myself have I needed to.
I think I was going to say the same thing. I think with Destiny, and this is with a first-person shooter, especially one such as Destiny, where you have a great degree of movement. Your kind of skill of the game is very much about how you place your person. You've seen it before. Like in Destiny Crucible or say Prison of Elders or Raid, where you could have someone who will be incredibly good at the game, and they'll move in a certain way that they're just playing it incredibly well, dancing around the battlefield, so to speak, and you're not going to get that in the Division. You know what I mean? It's you move from point to point. It's not about that. It's more about the.
Is that because you want a dance emote? Is that what it is?
That's what I want. I want a dance emote. But you know what I mean? With the Division, you're moving from set point to point. There isn't that fighting through hordes of enemies, constantly moving aspect that Destiny. You know, in the way that on Vault of Glass, in the first section when you're doing oracles, you're moving, cutting through all these enemies, trying to do all these objectives. You're not going to have that. It's more about your positioning, and that's why I think it's more interesting as a co-op shooter, because you work together to position, to flank, to move. Whereas when you're on your own, it's just moving from shooting gallery to shooting gallery.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't personally think it would be that much fun solo.
It isn't as fun.
I haven't actually played the beta solo. I haven't played any of the game solo. Every time I've had somebody else who's basically coming alongside, making sure I don't die. No,
yeah,
hand holding.
Yeah, which is why I'm ashamed that even when you're on your own, you won't. I'm glad they put matchmaking in the beginning of the stuff, but I would have liked, when you just doing random objectives and there's enemies out in the world. I do quite like the spontaneous hostage missions and stuff like that. I would imagine that in certain areas of the map they're going to be a lot higher level. I would have liked to have started to set one of those up and see another agent approach from the other side and end up with a spontaneous co-op. I quite like that sort of stuff, and
that would have been nice.
It's a bit of a shame it's not there.
That's something that Destiny definitely has.
And I do think it's interesting because if we can, people complained again, a lot of it fair compared to what happened with Destiny. We know why, the reasons why Destiny wasn't exactly like it was originally shown has been taught to death. We know about the internal stuff that went on. But one of the stuff they talked about was that spontaneous co-op. But looking at it in compared to now, what they managed to achieve in that is actually really cool, I think, with Destiny.
Well, to be honest, neither game has spontaneous co-op at all. But I think Destiny has a much higher opportunity for you to just randomly find somebody in the tower and team up with.
No, what I mean by spontaneous co-op is say like with the
public events.
So there's been times when I was leveling up and you're low level, when you had those taken champions spawn in, and they're all quite hard. They're really hard to kill on your own when you're leveling up. There's a couple of times where I thought I wouldn't be able to do it in time, and then just at the last second, a volley of rockets would hit it. I'd turn around and see 3 Guardians storm in. That was like a really cool moment, and that was completely seamless matchmaking. I hadn't asked it to do it, and yet it had done it. The Division doesn't really have that. The only place that exists...
It has a laptop.
Yes, it has a laptop. It has it in the Dark Zone, but again, the Dark Zone is a separate entity to the main game. It's almost like we have our basically Watch Dogs-like game with optional co-op, and then we have Rust, DayZ type thing. Yeah, it's almost like 2 games
in a set zone.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see where the story goes. I'd like there to be some sort of twist. I think Destiny, their delivery, has gotten better. I mean, I think Destiny wins a lot more points in its background lore. Is incredibly rich and things. When we're walking around New York, you know everything. You know what it was like before everything happened. But the sense you get when you're walking around the ruins in Destiny is you don't just see the art they've created. You think, what you want to know about what that world was like, because you don't know. So I think that kind of level.
Oh yeah, and obviously if you visited New York, you're like, oh yeah, I know this place.
Yeah. So in a sense,
Destiny, everything is different.
Yeah, which is kind of cool.
I quite like that in a way. Yeah. Like sometimes it's nice. I don't know if it feels almost, it's trying to make it even more believable, isn't it? As you can go to New York now and go, I've been here, I've shot people through that window, and I've been to Times Square and I shot someone there, and someone's going to look at you really strange. But that's like that's a cool thing.
To be fair, Cornish, when I visited New York last year, I based my entire sort of the map in my head of New York was based off a Lego game. So
that's
I would hope the Division could easily cover that.
Could easily, top that. Yeah, I guess it's just using a different aspect, isn't it? With the Division, it's twisting what you know, and the Destiny is hinting at mystery, which it's very, very slowly filling in. Because clearly it works, because one of the most demanded features of Destiny is to be able to walk through the last city to see somewhat of what the Golden Age was like. If you talk to people about what they want to see, that's quite often it. So I think they've created that hook. They just have to kind of answer it. But yeah, I mean, in terms of where the story can go, I mean, either they've solved the virus or they don't. I don't know how repeatable it is. Whereas Destiny, they've kind of got
the DLC. I think is where it's going to be made or braid. Made or braid.
I do love my games braid.
Yeah, like what's the DLC? Is the DLC you can add to the story, or is the one called Sewers literally you spend 3 missions in the sewers?
Yeah,
like a Dark Below version of Destiny.
Yeah.
Right, so I've just paid £25 and I've got some extra sewer missions, and that's it.
Yeah,
and maybe one.
Hat.
Yeah,
and does that mean that the base game doesn't finish like the story per se? Do they not? Do you not? Because the missions you're doing for the virologist, you're trying to create a cure. Does that mean you don't do that? Does the situation not actually resolve?
Perhaps you stabilize it.
Maybe stabilize. Yeah, maybe. But but you get what I'm trying to say is that how long does this game wrap it up, and then are they going to do how? Obviously, they've created this game with a long-term plan.
Yeah,
and they haven't publicly stated like Destiny. We have 10 years so, but that it is clearly that they've already used the phrase year one. They used that phrase, so I
think that's also a hook that Destiny has.
Yeah.
You feel I've invested a lot of time to this game, but that's fine.
Yeah,
it's gonna be around.
Yeah, exactly.
For the next
but
10
I think
years.
the difference with Destiny,
it's worth spending time in here.
Yeah,
because I'm going to be able to in 10 years' time go, look, I've got this cool gun, and someone's gonna be like, oh, where'd you get that gun from? I'll be like, back in the day in year one, 9 years ago. Oh God, my life.
Yes,
I got this from cheesing the Vault of Glass.
Yeah, but
when I wasn't nearly 40.
Yeah. I guess it's just that when you look at the Destiny story and what's happened, like you can easily see that they've got 10 years worth of stories to tell. If you read the back, all that stuff. Whereas I don't know how long virus situation in New York can play out and still be interesting. It is interesting now.
How do you grow it?
Yeah, how do we?
It can't just be now. You're going to Washington.
Yeah, and look, there's another virus which you have to stabilize.
I think you're being very harsh.
Supposed to be a
Am I?
game,
2 days in, and you're already slating the longevity of the story.
Possibly.
I mean, I bet you midway through Destiny, you were like, "No, this is never going to end. I'm not going to spend more than a month on here."
Maybe, I don't know.
It's difficult to tell now. I'm just looking at my character now. I played 7 hours and 51 minutes. I played 7 hours 51 minutes on one raid before and not finished it. I mean, you've got to look at that. They're so different at the moment. I mean, we've got hundreds, if not between us. We've got thousands and thousands of hours in Destiny. So I don't think we.
Of course not. And I'm not saying these questions are answerable, but the reason why we're asking these questions is Ubisoft's own publicity has been very much this is better than Destiny. I mean, they've actually outright said it in some of their...
Well, they said it, didn't they?
Yeah,
advertising.
So I think it isn't not when I say things like, hey, questioning the longevity, I'm not saying I have an answer for it. I'm just saying, hey, look, here's things that Destiny is, and Destiny has set up provisions for a long-term plan. So if you're going to compare yourself to Destiny, you have to be answerable to the same questions, I think.
It's true.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, as I said, I haven't finished the story, so
Okay.
I'm going to finish the story, and I'm going to find out, and I'll be very interested to see what happens to the DLC.
Just for comparison, so far I have played 46 days, 9 hours and 22 minutes of Destiny.
Where'd you find that out then?
But not as bad as Pimmy, who's done 107 days.
There is a website for that. That will tell you exactly.
Yeah,
no,
so you can go online, but you can actually
Xbox.
find it on the Xbox as well.
I'm pretty sure the Xbox
hidden,
sometimes is a bit shifty. I think it counted.
I mean, Skywalker, you're only a little bit behind on 45 days.
I know,
Wizards 42. You're slacking.
Personally.
Sorry, I need to
and,
spend 3 days
Shwin.
solid playing.
Shwin on a meager 30 days. So I mean, he's barely pulling his weight.
I know. What do you say, Pimmy was?
That's barely a
I
month.
feel pretty bad. I think I'm just going to have to spend the weekend playing Destiny. And the Division at once. And
I am the
next to each
best.
other.
Just saying.
No.
But yeah, I think I mean the only reason I brought those stats up is purely just to give us. We're trying to compare things that they're so different in timescales at the moment.
Yeah, they're different,
And
way different.
I think we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah.
And I think
And
what we should need to do is play some more Division.
Yeah, exactly. And when I bring up questions, in terms of longevity, I'm not saying they won't have an answer. But as you said yourself, Cornish, it helps to reason that you want to put time into something, knowing that there's going to be what you're playing is going to have some effect in X amount of time. They don't have to answer this soon, but it would be nice of them to answer it within the first 6 to 12 months or so of the game. Anyway, I think we've covered a lot of the Division, considering that we've probably played a handful of hours compared to how much we're going to play. So yeah, it's an interesting start, and we'll see where the game ends up.
Hopefully,
definitely.
hopefully within the next few days, I'll actually be able to get on and play, and my internet won't be screwing up.
That would be
That's
nice,
true.
wouldn't
Without
it?
getting kicked all the time.
Have a go. Well, thank
It's
you.
like, Wizards is coming with us. Oh, Wizards is
Oh,
gone.
Wizards is gone.
It actually says at the
That was
bottom of the
great.
screen
Man-
that Wizards is gone.
Yeah, Wizards
Yeah,
has joined
I
the
just
team.
fall into a
Wizards has
puddle.
left.
That scene from
And-
the Vicar of Dibley.
Thank you very much for listening to this hopefully riveting discussion. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Catch you later.
Bye.
Love you.